Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or toll free at 866-455-9797. You're listening to The Dana Show.
If you could, I'd like for you all to hang on to those phone lines, Chip, Dash, and the rest of you, 314-969-9797 and 866 toll free, 866-455-9797. We're going to get your calls after this. But I've enjoyed watching Chuck Purgason's political career going out for the big federal seat here. Now, everyone knows Senator Purgason represents the 33rd District here in the Missouri Senate, and he's now the challenger in the primary to Representative Roy Blunt for the GOP nomination. And everyone knows Senator Purgason. He's had longer hair, and I love that he's a limited government, a very grassroots guy, and that really hasn't gotten him a lot of attention, sadly, but this move actually may help bolster his platform. He got a look update. Senator Purgason, good afternoon to you. Thanks so much for joining me.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
So I saw the press release that was sent out by your folks, and you wore a toupee for a number of years. And you basically you went into your 50s. You turned 50, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You turned 50, and you updated your look.
I think it was part of leaving the rockin' 40s and beginning the mature 50s. So, but it was a decision I made, and we're having a lot of fun with it. I believe in transparency in government, and I think that it's a sad fact that for 11 months out of the year, I was talking about boring things like the deficit and the growing debt that we're having with our children and grandchildren, but I get a lot of press off this.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how society works? Well, I love it that you're actually able to use this to translate into greater attention for the issues that really need it. You said that in a statement, you said, quote, "I removed my hair to assure voters that nothing will be swept under the rug on my watch." And you've ran a pretty strong campaign on grassroots platform, on Tea Party principles, very limited government, low spending, good foreign policy, all of that. And I'm glad that something like this has been able to be used to bolster your stance on that in the media. Now, you've gotten national attention for this too, yes?
Oh yeah, I absolutely have gotten some national attention. But again, I remember when I got elected into office the first time in 1996 in the Missouri House. A news reporter said just a few weeks ago, he said that you were Tea Party when Tea Party wasn't cool. So. I've been a frustrated person for a long time because I got involved in politics because I was frustrated, and it's great to see people starting to wake up, and I believe that silent majority of people across the country right now are becoming excited, and they want to have an opportunity to get in and do some things to try to get their country back, because I think that they're seeing that we can't continue to try to borrow our way to prosperity. And all across the country, especially in our campaign, they're getting energized, and hopefully we can get everyone involved and we can begin changing this country around. Yeah,
one of the things that I like about the issues that you represent is you see things very black and white, and I know that there's some other legislators in different states, and we've talked about them here on this show, where like in Kentucky, Rand Paul's challenger said, "Oh, you can't. I understand that the deficit's increasing; it's tripled, but you can't take away all earmark spending and all entitlement spending. You have to have a little bit." But you really understand that you give Congress an inch and they'll take a mile. You really understand that if you're going to be true to the roots and true to principle, you need to have limited government, period, yes?
Well, what part of broke do we not understand? The problems is when I first started this race a year ago, my brochure put the national debt and how much was owed by each person, and each time I've reprinted my brochure, I had to add to those numbers. Now, I think that's sad that we're growing at a rate that when you print a brochure, it's out of date in a few months. So, I think that's scary, and I don't think people understand the depth of the debt of this country, and that we have got to dig our way out of this, or we're going to get past the point of no return. And nothing. America cannot be strong if we're not strong financially.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of poison can kill you just as fast as a whole lot of poison. And right now, a little bit of spending, a little here, a little there, adds up to real dollars after a while.
Oh, yes. And you served as chairman of the Committee on Appropriations for Health and Mental Health and Social Services, and obviously healthcare is something that you've spoken a lot about. One of the things that I have seen from a lot of people running for office this year is right when the healthcare law, right when that was being passed, right at the very climax of all of the protesting and the pressure on Congress to do the right thing, there were a lot of Republican candidates who, beat their fist on the pulpits and on the lecterns and everything else and said, we're going to make sure we repeal this. And then a month or two later, I stopped hearing anything about it. And you still, from what I've seen, you're still including that stuff. I mean, you still talk about it. What's your view on that? I mean, do you feel it should be repealed and just ripped back?
I think a lack of Republican leadership is what put us in that in the first place. The buzzwords for Republicans right now is Reid, Pelosi, and Obama. But, if we'd have done our job from 2000, 2006 when we were in charge, I believe those people would still be in a minority party. There was things that we could have done with health care back when we had the opportunity to and didn't. And I remember in 2005, I sponsored legislation that was the biggest reduction in the history of the state of Missouri when it comes to the entitlements, because at that time the state of Missouri was going broke. So, we stood firm on the issues. I sponsored the legislation. It was the toughest year of my life, but it was something that we had to do. And
absolutely,
I'm the type that I get into government, I'm going to do something. I'm not going to go up there and do what I can to stay there. I think you go up there and fix the problems, and then you get to come back home one of these days. And I think that if we had done our job as Republicans and reformed the system when we had the opportunity to, we wouldn't be out fighting brush fires that are threatening to burn our country down now that the other side continues to flame.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you, too, really quick about the Healthcare Freedom Act that's going to be going on the ballot, a proposition going on the ballot coming up. What are your thoughts on that for that act here in Missouri?
Well, I was the co-sponsor of that, and I was proud to work on getting that on the ballot. But I think it's states across the country are reaffirming their 10th Amendment rights. We've got a federal government that deficit spends, that prints money, that has no fiscal responsibility, and I think that's why you're seeing states in trouble now. Is like the state of Missouri has a balanced budget, and we're in partnership with someone that deficit spends, that puts everything on a credit card, and that's why you're seeing the strain in states' budgets all across the country right now. So it's a partnership that cannot continue the direction we are now with irresponsible spending in Washington. And I think it is the states beginning the process of fighting back because we can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're enjoying a lot of grassroots support, and you're a true grassroots candidate. And I like the things on which you're campaigning. One last question before we let you go, and because you got national media attention with this, how long did you wear a toupee, if you don't mind me asking you?
Oh, about 25 years.
Wow.
I was young at the time, and when the campaign started, I had a beard and hair, and now I've lost the hair and lost the beard. I hope that's the only thing I lose from now on. So.
Well, you look great, and Senator Purgason, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye. And we're playing the monkey song because he made that remark about himself. He didn't want to look like a Monkees member anymore. So we thought he's a great sport, Chuck Purgason. When we come back, we're going to get your calls right when we come back. So hang on those lines. Plus we got cool points and a lot more of the Dana Show. Stay with me.